welcome to the 8th episode of The Window to Dubai. I'm here with Nadine.
Thank you for having me.
She's representing Twinnz, which is an apparel and hat company.
Yes.
Originally based in the UK, but now has come to the UAE, and you are focused on kind of UAE and really a whole Middle East GCC region, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So originally you started out in fashion 6-7 years ago in the UK, came to Dubai.
So I was in Dubai for 6 years. I had an events company in Dubai. And then I moved back to the UK, started my own fashion line. At the same time that the Twinnz started theirs, and theirs I was just rocketed and absolutely done amazing in Europe and in the UK. And with my connections in Dubai, I wanted to bring it over to the Middle East, and they agreed, and that's what we've done.
What made you go from having your own clothing line to wanting to work with them? Because you were already kind of doing it yourself, and then you saw them and you kind of wanted to work with them. And what was it that kind of drew you into them?
To be honest, this whole last few years has been a massive journey, and I'm sure with every entrepreneur is the same. Dubai is a city that I hold close to my heart, and I believe that a lot of the expats here, they can relate to the same kind of story. People come to Dubai and they think that, or people think that you live in Dubai and it's, you know, it's really easy living, you know, you're at the beach every weekend and
the Dubai
everybody's
dream.
really rich and, you know,
Yeah.
and really it's damned hard work living in Dubai as an expat, you know, you have to work hard. This brand really represents people who work for it, you know, I think that's why it's very well known with athletes and in particular MMA, because, you know, it's about fighting for what you want and what you believe in. And literally there's a massive story behind this brand. I am very close with the Twinnz who are the owners of the brand. They're from my hometown, and I've seen their journey and I've watched their journey, and I've seen them go from literally the bottom to the top. They're massive entrepreneurs living between the UK and the US. They're doing very, very well, and I'm super proud of what I see, and it's really something that I hold close to my heart and I'm very, very passionate about because of the journey.
Yeah. Did they target MMA, or did MMA kind of find them and it just kind of melded together?
They've always been into training, they've always been into fighting and boxing, and it kind of gelled together. When it started small, everybody knows them for that, and that's how it's really came about. And now it's really a brand that stands for something, which I think is so nice in this generation where there's so many brands being brought out and there's so many people trying to, you know, bring out a fashion line or, you know, bring out their own brand, where it really, really stands for something and something that people can relate to.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this yesterday when we met, that kind of what I think a lot of people are not doing on social media is telling that story, you know, because a lot of people are, you know, I get this question a lot on my Instagram. I'll do like a Q&A and I'll say, hey, ask me a question about sales, marketing, or business development, and I'll answer it. And a lot of people will tell me they want to start a business, but when I ask them like why, they're like, I heard you can make a lot of money. You're like, well, that will only carry you so far. Absolutely. Sooner or later, you have to have something other, you know, why you're doing it. And what do you think was the Twinnz kind of reasoning to start it? Like, what was their thing that got them going, like their purpose for it?
They've always been into fashion. Ever since I can remember, they've always looked good. They've always been about, you know, what they're wearing, and they've always been about the swagger, you know.
Yeah.
And so now I think they've got to a point where, because of their history and because of their story, they have an amazing story, and hopefully we'll get to hear about it one day. That's when that's what's made them. They know fashion, they know quality, they know how things are done. They know they're very cool guys, you know, and they know all about being cool. So, you know, it was just perfect for them to design something themselves.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that design clothes are usually like that. They just can't find the stuff they want, or they can't find the stuff that they like to wear. So they're just like, I'll just design it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's gone through stages, and some of the new stuff it's amazing.
Yeah. And so bringing it to the UAE, you're already working with some local kind of shops, because you're not officially like online with Twinnz.com or like a website, but you're kind of at that stage where you're
so Twinnz.com is based for UK and Europe. Europe have actually Slovakia has got their own thing going on. It's really taken off over there. It's doing amazing. In the Middle East, we're working with large retailers. It's a very different market, as in the Middle East. So we're working with a very big retailer, which is Altair Group. Altair Group, they own Dubai Mall, Harvey Nichols, Bloomingdale's, and they've got an online store called Nisnas. And we've just started with those, and we've got some big retailers that have just taken on the brand, but we're not allowed to say yet. So,
yeah. So you're going to be more focused kind of direct sale in store and online, or what's the...
Yeah, so we're online at the moment with Nisnas, and bricks and mortar, definitely. People still like that old school way of being able to go into a shop, try a hat on, and that's what we're finding. So we've chosen a few retailers to work with.
Nice. And what is you guys are obviously focused on Instagram. Are you using social influencers? What is that? Because everyone's kind of in Dubai a social influencer, so...
We do use social influencers, and this is where I think is great, where I come in. Is I do know a lot of people in Dubai, and because of my journey, I've met a lot of amazing people. I'm into fitness myself. My circle is very much athlete based. I train at a very well-known gym here, which is TK Fitness, and there is a lot of athletes that go there, and they love the brand, and literally because of what it stands for. So we've done a couple of really cool photo shoots with some great athletes and social influencers.
And what do you think, because you were saying it's the story. Can you share just a little bit about their story? I know it's kind of from a bottom up, but maybe a little more detail just to kind of give the audience some insight to the twins, because they really are actually two twins, right? Like
they're two brothers. They're from Manchester. They're really cool. And they've been through a lot. They've had a lot of challenging times. They're from the streets. And a lot of people will connect with that. They've had big dreams, and they've probably been knocked down a lot of times, and they've got back up every single time. And like everybody, and I think we all learn along the way. It's not how many times you fall, it's how you get back up. And boy, they've got back up many times, and they've kept going, and they've kept believing in the dreams, and they now are involved with some other business in the US, which this will all come out soon. But it really is. They've really chased the dreams. Finally, they're getting there, and it's really nice that they've got a brand which shows the journey, and that's what it represents.
Yeah, so it's that fighter mentality, really.
Absolutely,
that's what they represent. It makes sense if they came from that background. Their brand is gonna kind of align with that. If they were training in that world and they were kind of living in that space, it seems like it would go kind of hand in hand.
And when I don't know if this is because I know them so well, but I know in Manchester, where we're from in the UK, is when you wear the brand, when you wear the hat, and when you wear it, you feel like that. You have that feeling what it represents. And as a brand, I think that's really difficult to do. Give somebody a feeling when they wear it, which is amazing.
Do you think that they are able to maintain that as they go out? Because obviously in Manchester, and then you kind of have the micro market of Manchester, then you have kind of the macro market of the UK. So it kind of, as it goes further and further out, do you think they are able to still keep that kind of awareness of the story, or is it you got to keep doing a better job to communicate it maybe?
No, absolutely. I think because the type of business they're involved with, and the circle, of people that they're involved with, when you've got a story like theirs that, people get onto that, and they have a certain aura about them, a certain feel about them, and you can just see from the way they look, the way that they carry themselves as businessmen now, and you can just see from the way that they are that kind of it's kind of we say it's like it's not an unsaid rule, but it's just a feeling that people connect with when you've got that kind of mindset.
They represent it well,
very much so. Yeah. And that's the one thing they've never forgot where they've come from, you know? They've never changed who they are, regardless of who they're around or what type of people they're around, or, you know, business and, you know,
the amount of money sometimes.
The amount of money, never ever changed who they are and what they're about and what they represent.
Yeah, and so that obviously is what brought you to them, and you're now bringing it to Dubai. What's it like just getting started? Like, let's talk about the startup process, because I think everyone has the Dubai dream, and it's not easy getting started in Dubai. I mean, even me personally, it took me, you know, 3 months to open a company and get a bank account just to even start, you know?
I think you have to be very versatile in Dubai. You have to understand the market. You have to understand how the locals work. You have to understand that business is a lot slower.
You have to be persistently patient.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do things differently. You know, the first meeting might just be having depending on who your customer is. You know, if it's a local, it might just be sat having a drink of tea, talking about family, and you know, they do things very differently to say how somebody from Switzerland would do business. So it's learning and really having some insight into how different people in different regions work and understanding personality. I think the psychology of business is very, very important in Dubai.
Yeah. I was amazed the first time somebody wrote me a post-dated check. I was like, what is the point of this? Like, I went to pick up a check 2 weeks ago and it was dated for the 15th. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? They're like, you can cash it on the 15th.
Yeah.
But that's how they do it, because they're paying, you know, every 30 days for me to do their marketing. And they're like, yeah, come pick up the check. First of all, in America, nobody writes a check anymore. Like, they just pay with card. In Europe, you just get a wire transfer. So when someone told me to come pick up a check and then I can't cash it for like a week, I was like, well, what was the point? You know, and they're like, well, that's just how it's done here, you know? So it's a totally different world. But, and I don't know, is it did you choose Dubai because of the economic opportunity, or you just felt like they needed a presence in the Middle East? Because for me, when I look at Dubai, really coupled with the whole opening of Saudi, for me as a digital marketing business, I look at it like this is easily $100 million market. I'm not anywhere near that, but the potential is that kind of why you brought it to Dubai? Or like, what was the reasoning that you said, okay, I want to take this to Dubai?
Dubai is one of the best cities in the world. And you have, especially for fashion, you know, and you've got people from all over the world, so it's just like a central hub for fashion and for different types of people, and this, it definitely needs presence here. However, what you were saying about Saudi Arabia, that's definitely a bigger market. And actually in London, we have Knightsbridge, an area in London, and it's very, very familiar with Saudi and with Dubai. We have a lot of the locals stay there, so after we've done the UAE market, I think Saudi is definitely the way forward for us.
Yeah, I think it's a hub though, right? Like you're kind of, if you're operating from the Middle East, if you look at most of the big multinational companies, you know, even Nike, Adidas, they're all kind of stationed in Dubai in hopes to, or regionally focused on the MENA region, which is, you know, Middle East, North Africa. But Dubai is the hub, and that's why I chose Dubai, because I saw it as a way to connect with the largest brands in the world in Dubai. It's kind of like a New York or a London in the Middle East. It's kind of, this is the hub to be in. And I think people, at least for me, I'm focused on 2020. And I think people just don't understand the amount of economic opportunity. It's a great place to live. It's got all the amenities. You don't really get to enjoy them when you live here as much because you're too busy working. You really are just way busier than people think. But it's still available to you, you know, and I just prefer over like cold London, you know, I prefer like a nice sunny beachy day in Dubai, you know, but I think it's like tremendous amounts of opportunity. And I think the hat business, we were talking about this yesterday, because if you do look at the local community, when they're not wearing their traditional, they are wearing hats. So it's actually a great opportunity for a hat company.
There's so many different opportunities from your locals. Then you have like your beaches and your beach parties that are all, you know, into hats. Then even like your gyms, all the sports style, and then we have two lines. So there's the main line, which I'm showing here, and then we have a select line, which is more your high-end urban fashion. So when they're going out to nightclubs, all those types of hats that you see, in the big clubs, we have a line for the high-end urban fashion as well.
Nice. So what is kind of the small, like kind of the next 6 months look like, and then what's the bigger plan for how you're going to roll this out, and like where you're going to spend most of your time on social media, trying to get into more stores? Like, where are you focused?
I've been really looking at social media, to be honest, and I think although it's amazing, it looks great, I think for me it's more focusing on the actual retailers where we're selling, bricks and mortar, having the hats placed in the retailers, doing some small events around that to gain exposure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have fallen in love with Instagram and social media, but there's so much more you can do to actually execute. And I think going to the stores, especially in Dubai, I think it is way more local than people realize. And I think you're going to get way more out of actually getting it in the stores. I mean, you have to have a presence, but I think you should definitely invest more on that. And even, an online strategy, which it sounds like you're doing.
This is what we spoke about yesterday, and I think you definitely have a point there. I think maybe an online, just a Twinnz Middle East online store.
Yeah, and I think having the Google part figured out too, people searching for hats, because I think I guarantee you, if you go to Google Trends and search just hats, how many searches are happening in Dubai, I bet you it'll blow you away. How many people are actually just looking for hats online, searching for them, and it would get far more out of than social media.
At the moment, we are stuck in a small boutique style place within TK Fitness. TK Fitness is the MMA gym of Dubai, where you'll also find some amazing athletes, owned by an entrepreneur called Tam Khan. You can also download an app called Nisnas, which is owned by Altair, and you can find the hats on there. They've just got apparel on there as well. And we have another store opening downtown, which they'll be stocked this week. And we have a big sports retailer, which has taken on the brand for the whole of the Middle East, which I have to wait to sign that contract next week before we can say anything. But I'll make sure that it's on all of the, the Instagram channels, so people know.
Awesome. So that was a great episode. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.